dropped about 8 pounds a day when I just got undressed. And my clothes were really heavy. But it was hot out there today, and it's good for us because, you know, through this entire camp, the weather is not, I don't think it's been over 80 degrees. And
Yes.
to be able to get up close to 90 today, I believe, it was good for us. We picked the tempo up in practice a little bit. We didn't respond well last night to the heat. I thought we responded a little better today. So I was pleased to see that, but it is extremely warm out here right now.
It is nice.
I know you don't. I know you don't want that personally as a coach when you're out there sweating in the 90-degree heat. But is that something that you want when you are getting your team ready, because you're going to have to play in conditions like this when it comes game time?
Oh, sure, absolutely. We've actually been over-conditioning right now because, you know, we haven't had the heat. So we've been doing a little extra running at practice to make sure that our guys are physically in shape. And, you know, if it does happen, you know, to be able to hit that, to beat the heat when it comes. Our first game is a 7 o'clock game at LP Field on September 1st. But that'll be good for us. But, you know, week 2, we got to go to Florida and play at 2 o'clock in Tallahassee.
I've noticed you've been in full pads a lot. Is that by design with this team?
Yeah, I mean, it is. You know, we got to be able to carry those pads. And part of that, too, has been the weather. You know, we haven't had that hot weather. It hasn't been very humid. Even when we go in our indoor facility over here, we've had the director of facilities, Gerald McBrady, turn the air off in there so we can simulate humidity and keep it kind of muggy in there.
737-1045 is our number. TSU head coach Rod Reed is with us, and if you'd like to talk with him about the Tigers football team this year, feel free to call in. We'll let you on with Coach. We'll work you in quickly. You've got the Fan Day coming up this weekend. Of course, you've got the John Merritt Classic coming up a week from Sunday. That's a September 1st night game at LP Field, as you mentioned. Tickets are on sale now. You can get those tickets at 963-ROAR. That's 963-7627, 7627. Online through Ticketmaster. And more details are available at merrittclassic.com. The Fan Day this Saturday from 3 to 4 o'clock. Then you've got the blue and white scrimmage, 4 o'clock right here at the stadium. And you've scrimmaged quite a bit with these teams. I noticed in practice you've been using that time to scrimmage offense, defense.
Yeah, you know, even though we got an experienced defense coming back, we got a lot of guys that haven't played on the offensive side of the ball, and we wanted to get an opportunity to look at some young guys. We know what those older guys can do pretty much, so we have to get some young guys some scrimmage reps because, as you know, we have a 12-game season this year. And I don't believe we have one player that's going to be able to play every snap, every down. So we've got to get some young guys ready and be in position if somebody goes down and have the next man in philosophy and be able to not miss a beat and put somebody else in.
No, it's a debate that goes beyond campus and into the city about where you play. Three games at LP this year, 1 here. Just curious, your overall feeling, and I'm sure you're happy with both, but your overall feeling about the feel of being on campus and having students able to walk down the street into the stadium as opposed to being in an NFL facility, which is certainly nice for your guys, but doesn't necessarily lend itself to the same atmosphere.
I'll tell you what, you know, last year the atmosphere in the hole was tremendous. We were 3-0 in the hole. We won 2 games on the last play of the game in the hole. So there's a little mystique that goes on down there. But I love the luxury of being able to play at LP. We actually have the best of both worlds. Hopefully we can continue to play a couple games here and continue our relationship with LP and play down here. It's a great recruiting tool for us. And but being able to play on campus, there was nothing like it. You know, I hadn't done that, been in a game situation since I played here in the hole last year. And I never really get caught up in the game atmosphere when you come out and play. But to be able to come out and see a 1 o'clock game and all that blue and white packed in the stadium, it was something special last year.
What can we expect at quarterback? I know you've answered this question a lot, but with German academically ineligible, how have things shaked out there?
Well, you know, Ronald Butler has kind of taken the reins and become the front runner at the quarterback spot for us this year. And, you know, right now he's the guy. So we got to wait and see what happens with Mike. He's still doing some things to get academically eligible. You know, if that happens, you know, we'll welcome him back. But there's going to be a price to pay to get back on this football team. But Ronald Butler's done a great job. And Hope Claiborne is a guy that went through the spring with us. He's a senior. He's doing really well. And we brought a junior college kid in, Lamar McKnight. He's picking up the offense pretty good. So we're pretty set at the quarterback position. You know, obviously, you would have loved to have German do everything right and be going into his 3rd year as a starter. But, you know, it didn't work out that way, so we have to go other avenues. And we'll address the situations. We got a great offensive line coach, a bunch of good running backs. So we should be able to control the tempos of games. with our run game, and hopefully they'll open up the play action for us.
And you mentioned German. I mean, as a coach, going into the offseason, going into this year, I mean, that's one of the positions you didn't have to worry about because you had an experienced quarterback coming back. And then all of a sudden, snap your fingers, and you've got a position battle going on. How worried were you about that position coming into camp?
I mean, it's troubling. You know, I mean, you were worried about that, but we knew, you know, last year, Ronald Butler, the guy that has emerged as our starter right now, you know, in that battle with Claiborne, Butler was German's backup last year in camp. So he actually went, you know, 14, 15 days with us in camp last year before his test score didn't match with his GPA, and we had to pull it. And he hung around and continued to take the test, and was a part-time student. And, you know, finally got qualified, so now he's out there, and he knew most of the offense, so he's pretty well versed on what we're doing out there.
Coach, you've really upgraded the talent at TSU in your time here, and a lot of that is with transfers from Division 1A programs out there. So how much of your recruiting is not just going to high schools, knowing the coaches, getting to know the players and their families, but also having those relationships in other programs when you take some of these transfers?
Well, I got my new punter out there, Leon Holderhead. He's from Australia, so we really have been going a lot of places to get players.
Looks like an offensive tackle.
He does, though. He's a big guy.
Yeah.
But we've done a good job. I mean, you know, a lot of these guys we recruited out of high school, and they chose those big programs. That's why I tell our coaches all the time, when we go to these schools and recruit, just because a kid is committed to Florida or saying they're going to Kentucky or somewhere else, you still need to talk to them, get the information, build a relationship with them, because if they get there and it doesn't work out, you know, we'll have an opportunity to re-recruit that kid. And if you'll notice, we really don't take a lot of kids with less than 3 years to play. Because, you know, when you start giving, when they got 1 year or 2 years left, they're not really here for your program. They're really here to get what they can get and move on. We want guys to be here to get a degree. We want guys that are interested in graduating from college. So that's the philosophy that we've used. It's worked well for us. And those guys that have been here as transfers have been really good citizens for us.
One of those transfers out of Navy, Adam Davenport, went to Riverdale. And I was asking a couple of friends that are TSU fans, and one of the guys they mentioned was Davenport because they want to see him do some nice things at running back. Is he among that trio that you're talking about when you say you like what you've got in the backfield?
Oh, absolutely. Adam gives us a presence back there that we hadn't had. He's a 5'11", 215-pound running back, and he is a bruiser. You know, he's going to be able to help us, you know, get those tough yards that we need, and he's also going to be able to close football games out for us. And eventually, you know, he may turn into every down back. You never know, but I know that we really like what he brings to the table. You know, Tevin Spells is another kid that's opened our eyes. He's a freshman out of Florida, doing a really good job. But Tevin Hooks and Broughton have done a really good job this year, too. So we've got about 4 or 5 tailbacks that we feel really good about. And, you know, Preston Brown went down a couple of years ago, and we got down to our 5th back. And I said at that point, we'd never be in that position at running back again. So we're going to keep a good stable of running backs as long as I'm here.
And Travis Ward, not here. But unlike the quarterback spot where you maybe scrambled a little bit, at least I would if I lost my starter, you've got the experience on your O-line to block for the running backs. How much did that ease your troubles losing a guy like Ward to leaving early?
You know, not only that, Telvin Hooks actually had a better yards per carry average last year than Travis. But Travis was our workhorse.
Yeah.
And, you know, had Travis gone down last year, we would have felt very comfortable putting Hooks in there as a starter. So we're going to see what he can do this year. But, you know, having guys like Demetrius Rainey back, Kadeem Edwards, you know, who the NFL scouts are kind of drooling over a little bit. They really like him. You know, Robert Myers, you know, Anthony Morris. We got a transfer in from Florida, Jessamine Duncan. So we've got some guys that we feel pretty comfortable about up there. And Anthony Morris is coming off a knee injury, but he's coming around in shape real good. So we feel really good about what we have up front and the guys that run the football.
4th year now as the head coach at TSU, and it's got to be nice to have that consistency. How do you guard, though, with the consistency, with the repetition, against being caught in a rut where you want to change things up, you want to make things a little bit different from camp to camp, practice to practice? Well,
I mean, you know, our guys just got to understand the grind. You know, we come out, we practice really hard. We have physical practices. Right now, we're kind of paying for those physical practices. We got a few guys beat up, and we're probably going to have to scale back a little bit. We didn't do inside run today. You know, our Sam linebacker, he's been a real wimp. Wilson Robinson, he's got a foot injury. And so we're going to have to get him back up and going. But
As he walks by,
Yeah, as he walks by,
hands
you
in the
know,
air,
yeah.
shrugging at coach.
His
Come
foot,
on,
his foot looks fine right now. I gotta be honest. It looks all right there.
Start limping.
Exactly. You know, but we got a couple of guys out. Nick Thrasher has a cold. He's been out. His backup, Mike West, has really filled in and done a good job. But we got it. We try to mix it up. You know, we do some things conditioning wise. We condition hard the first 2 weeks. We got to back off. Like I said, we over conditioned those first 2 weeks. But it's coming a time right now where we got to get these guys on the field, and we got to start backing off a little bit and let them get their legs back a little bit. But I really like the group that we have, and I think they've done a good job of attacking practice this year. We hadn't had all the whining, you know, in the past. I think we're growing up a little bit. But I just still want to see us play at a faster tempo, a faster pace, and that's what we've been pushing in practice.
Talked a lot about the offense, but I think most of your depth, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is on defense, where you look at the positions, at least on the roster on paper, it looks like you're in a good spot there. Is defensively, do you like where you're at, and where would this defense rank where, you know, maybe some of the groups you coached?
Well, I think really defensively, we've got a good group of kids coming back. And a lot of them were sophomores last year. We've got 11 starters coming back on defense, and 9 of them are juniors. We only have 2 guys that are seniors, and we feel good about that. But we've got to keep these guys from getting complacent, you know, resting on their laurels. You know, we were ranked statistically the number 1 defense in the conference last year. So I think sometimes we come out in practice and we think that, you know, we can just show up. We got to understand that there's got to be a sense of urgency every practice, every down. You know, there's 2 things that happen at practice every day. You either get better or you get worse. So, you know, we got to keep emphasizing that to our guys about pressing forward, breaking the rock, and trying to reach a different level. You know, okay, we were number 1 in the conference. Let's shoot for number 1 in the nation this year, you know?
You mentioned guys whining less about practice regimen and maturing. I'm curious, in broad strokes, from somebody who finds himself getting older and talking about kids today, I know for some guys you need to be ridden and some guys need a pat on the back. If you had to break down percentage-wise, what percentage of your team needs you to be on them and give them a kick in the butt, and what percentage of your team needs an arm around the shoulder and a little confidence?
About 96% need a kick in the butt. I'm just telling you know, it's,
That was specific, by the way.
And that's very
96.
specific. And from what you think they need, do you think that that's also what they respond to?
a lot of times, yes. You know, and you know, we just got to deal with different demographics. You know, a bunch of our kids come from single parent homes. So what I tell the coaches, man, you got to earn the right to get in the kids' face. You got to earn the right to coach them really hard, because they don't care how much you know till they know how much you care. I'm sure you've heard that before, but it's the truth. You know, if a kid trusts you, they'll do a lot of things for you, and you can coach them really hard. A lot of times, these kids that just come from a different era, man. It's hard to, every time you get on them, they think you're attacking them and not attacking the problem at hand. So there's really a fine line with some of the things that you can and can't do with them. But, you know, we're figuring that out, and we figure all our players out, and we know the guys that, you know, you got to kind of put your arm around. You know, some guys you got to pull them to the side and rip them, you know. You know, other guys, you know, you just got to stay in their tail all the time.
Let's get Ernest and Madison before the break here with Coach Reed. Ernest, welcome in, man.
Hey, how's it going, guys? Thanks for taking my call.
Sure.
Coach, my question is, started off so well, and it looked like a sure lock for the OVC championship, and kind of fell apart there at the end. And I'm just wondering, is that an area of concern that you're going to address this year? And I'll hang up and listen to the answer. Go Big Blue.
Go.
Well, I tell you what, I think, you know, last year we had a depth issue, and I think this year we addressed that in recruiting. You know, we've got some guys that can come in. We're pretty deep at every position. You know, I tell these kids all the time, you know, if you don't want to do things right, we'll put the next man in. And I think last year, you know, we got to a point, we were playing with a bunch of young guys now. You got to remember, that was a team full of sophomores last year, and those guys are juniors this year. We were really ahead of schedule where I thought we would be at that point. But, you know, we had a couple of injuries. You know, Gabo missed a couple of games there. Daniel Fitzpatrick, who had off-season shoulder surgery, you know, was hurt. And we went into those last couple of games a little banged up. Now, I'm not making any excuses, because I thought, you know, we should have won one of those last 2. I think Murray State, we had an opportunity. We turned the ball over a couple of times, and, you know, they're a high-powered offense. And then UT Martin, you know, we had a tragic incident that happened the week before that game. We didn't practice during the off week. with the Wayne Jones Jr. situation that happened last year. So it threw our timing off a little bit. But, you know, we're not going to have any excuses. That's our motto this year, no excuses. Kids got it all across the T-shirts. That's what I tell them all the time. And we just got to break the rock. We got to push through to that next level. And I think that we have the ability to do that. But we're going to have a 12-game schedule. It's going to be tough. You know, we're going to have to do some things and be creative on the coaching side. And our players are going to have to buy in and, you know, get treatment, come to practice, do the things they're supposed to do in a 12-game grind.
And brand new season kicks off a week from Sunday against Bethune-Cookman at the John Merritt Classic at LP Field, 7 o'clock kickoff. Coach Reed, thanks for having us out today, and we're excited to be here, and thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you guys for having me.
Enjoy it.
Thanks, Coach.
More coming on the Midday 180, presented by Jersey Mike Subs. Right now, Chad Withrow.
Well, I'm excited.